This is episode 7 of the NAPCast, Not Another Paranormal Podcast. I am here with YebbaDebba, or Abby. I guess I will use them interchangeably. And YebbaDebba is her Twitch handle and her Twitter handle and everything. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself? Because I like for people to be very, what's the word? Feel like you're under the fire. Do I come off as a Ramsey Gordon? Oh God, is that his name? That's his name, right? Ramsey Gordon. I have had a lot to drink.
Gordon Ramsay. The other way.
Gordon Ramsay. Okay,
yes.
You know what? I've never seen any of his shows, but I'm sure Iron Chef is great.
Kitchen Nightmares, you're missing out, man.
Oh, Hell's Kitchen. That's what it's called, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I know I've never seen any of them. I've literally only seen Chef's Table, and that's it.
That one and let's see, not Hell's Kitchen, Kitchen Nightmares, and Bar Rescue is my fucking jam. They're so good.
Rescue.
Yep, John
Who's
Taffer.
That?
It's another one of those like let's save the bar, let's this failing business, and it's the same thing that Gordon Ramsay does with restaurants, where he's
Gordon
like
Ramsay
this
is literally just like the guardian angel of really crappy restaurants.
Basically, and comes in and it was just like, here, let me help you, but also call you an idiot at the same time. That's my brand. So, yep.
Well, you know what? Props off to him. Hats off. Cheerio. It's fine. So
people sign up for it.
Yeah, I get that. So I asked Abby/Yebba to be on here with me today because she used to be a pagan. Is that correct?
Correct.
That's how you would describe yourself, as ex-pagan?
I would yes, because yes. I'm no longer practicing, but the beliefs are still there.
Okay, cool. Well, that's cool. And I thought it would be nice to just like sit down and chat with you. But she does streaming, which is what I do. If you guys don't know, we stream on Twitch. It's a platform where we play video games, and I mostly do art because I'm lame. And I sometimes feel like playing games, but most of the time I don't. Most of the time I'm like a hippie, and I'm just like, let's paint some plants today.
But they're such pretty plants, so it's totally
thank you.
You're welcome.
But yeah, so just talk about yourself for a moment. Pitch yourself to the people of pagans, and even though you're not a pagan, it's fine. We don't judge here.
Totally. So, like you said, my name's Yebba/Abby. I'm a ridiculous human being that swears a lot. I enjoy fumbling through video games, but also, thanks. I'm apparently very artistic with it. And
it's very good. I enjoy
it. They're very good sentence enhancers. Yes. I think shit dick is still the family favorite.
I like that.
Or the non-family favorite, I should say. So I do my main focus for streaming is charity. So I like to put most of my efforts towards a positive cause. I'm actually part of a charity stream team, and this year, jointly with my stream team as well as myself, we've raised over $13,000 for charity already.
That's amazing.
So yeah, and I've only been streaming for like a year, and I've been a dedicated viewer for many more. So I am. I'm so freaking cute.
Okay. So one of my dreams for my birthday, which is next month, I wanted to come to Chicago. And
do it.
I can't because now I'm going to London.
But that's true.
One day I'll go to Chicago.
Fair point.
But yes, I have always loved your stream. If you guys enjoy watching streams or are new to Twitch and don't really know what it's about, it's kind of like where really great people go and they just like, how do I put it? I normally put it like this. If you've never watched Twitch, it's like YouTube, but real time. So
yeah, real time, and you can form friendships and communities and be a part of really cool experiences, both with fellow viewers and with streamers. It's pretty great.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. It's awesome. So it's far superior to YouTube, in my opinion. But I also like YouTube for its own things because then I can
Agreed.
pause things and go back and play it again if I've missed something and so on and so
Agreed.
forth.
I love
So
those. I love those Let's Play guys. I still watch Rooster Teeth. I adore them.
I have never gotten into Rooster Teeth, even though most of my friends are from Texas and they're like, you should watch Rooster Teeth. And I'm like, I don't understand. There was one video that they pointed me to. I play Ark. Have you ever played Ark?
I do play Ark. I actually play Ark with my brother, and
I love Ark. Oh, you
yeah.
play with your brother. Oh,
I do
my
play with my
brothers
brother.
are not cool enough to play with me.
My brother's way cooler than I am. So,
my brothers play Fortnite and PUBG. So,
oh damn,
I'm too cool for them. I'm too cool.
We'll get to them soon.
One day I'll be like, hey, just come try not shooting people. just punch a dinosaur.
Just get them to try Stardew, and then they'll start really mellow and build up. It'll be great.
Really mellow. So we that's how Abby and I met. We met through Twitch, but then I found out that she was really into pagan stuff. And I was like, ooh. Or do you still... Okay, so earlier you were saying that you still hold the pagan beliefs to be true. So what does that mean exactly? So do you agree with most of what pagans believe? Honestly, okay. The only person that I know that's like been a pagan for a long time and is still a pagan is my friend Cricket.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, living in the Bible Belt, no one else is like that.
Yeah.
So what does it mean to you to be a pagan, and what are the beliefs that you still agree with and whatnot?
Yeah. So I've had quite a few different realms that I've been exposed to, both kind of hanging with covens, but also just kind of being around people, especially in my college years, that were both international and very regionally different than me. So a lot of them had a lot of different beliefs and a lot of different, I guess the best word is systems, that they applied to their daily beliefs.
Far away from where you lived?
I went to college, so I live in Chicago.
Okay,
and I grew up in Chicago.
Yeah.
But I went to school out in Western Massachusetts.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
that's like really far away.
Yeah, it was totally 1,000%
Why
worth
did you
it.
choose to do that particularly?
Well, two things. One, it was an incredibly what's the word I'm looking for? Challenging school that I took one look at it, and like I visited, and that's actually where one of my creepy stories comes from. I visited it. Yeah, it was dope. I visited and I hung out and I just like sat in classes, and like the professor called on me even though he knew that I was like a prospective student and still expected me to either know or try my best. And I was like, well, damn. Cool. I want to be here.
Yeah.
So it was an incredible experience. It was also all women's.
Ooh. Ooh.
It was all women's education. And that has persisted. And also they have accepted trans students, which is amazing.
That's really cool. That's really cool. Oh, that's one of the questions I have for you. Okay.
Yeah.
Continue.
And it was 30. It's like 30 to 40% international.
That's really cool,
and it's very tiny. So it was an amazing experience to have a lot of things. And also one thing that kind of comes along with paganism is a lot of community and sisterhood.
Yeah, for sure.
That tends to come out of it.
100%.
Yep. And so that was something I was very attracted to. And I think something that still persists into a belief of you can, just like with any religion, you can 100% practice by yourself. Your beliefs are your own, and you can make it what you would like it to be. And I've sort of had that approach with any type of religion. And with I guess what I hold on to is the realness, the tangibility, and the representation that each sector. I mostly did elemental stuff, so just kind of each sector that interfaces with your life.
So would you say that you were mostly like an elemental witch, or
yes.
or would you consider yourself a witch? Because you don't necessarily have to be a witch to be a pagan.
I probably wouldn't have gone. I had people sort of label me as a green witch
Which is what I
from
would
the
be,
get-go.
to be fair.
Yeah, 100%.
Because I am super into plants and herbs and tea and every basic bitch thing that you could possibly think of that goes with like autumn. Like
Yes.
everything, harvest, yes.
Yes.
Pumpkin spice lattes, yes. I am there. I am all around fall and autumn, not just because it's my birthday, but because just everything I love is there. So you wouldn't necessarily call yourself a witch.
I don't know if I would necessarily call myself a witch. I definitely tried to tie a lot of paganism to just my absolute love and adoration for mythology.
Mm-hmm.
And so I hung out with people who were druids, and like so.
That's cool.
So there,
That's very cool.
I've never really been around people who've either identified as one or the other, but I've definitely been around people who identified as both.
Right.
So they've made, they've made something their own. It might have just been of the people that I was exposed to, but like even my aunt, like she's the same way. So she does Reiki and all that jazz. So.
Oh, that's very cool. Okay, so
yeah.
For instance, you were mentioning like druids and things like that. Did you have like a god or goddess or okay, so being pagan doesn't necessarily mean that you're Wiccan.
Right.
Did you have like a god or goddess that you kind of were attracted to, or did you just enjoy it overall that you kind of had the freedom to practice something with spirituality but not necessarily attach it to a specific thing? You know what I'm saying?
I do. I definitely did not pick a specific person and or idol and or identity to
right, so you
worship.
Didn't have like a deity.
Yeah, I did not have one. I tended to go more towards the representations that I could find within different things. So whether it was plants, crystals, rock formations. I had a whole Karen thing going on for a while. It was pretty intense.
A what?
The Karens, the where you stack the rocks on certain mystical sites. Karens, yeah.
How do you pronounce that?
It's
spell it.
Carin.
You said Carin?
Yes.
Karens. I've never heard of that. I know what you're talking about. It's like a stacked, it's like a column of rocks.
Yes.
It's just
when I was little, I even had quite an affinity to fairies and wee folk. And a lot of it had to do with I was taught at a pretty early age a lot about Irish mythology.
Right.
So yeah, so one of the things that really my entire senior year of art in high school was just me painting fairies. Like it has stuck with me. That's and awesome. Stayed with me, and like it was a lot of fun.
You're like the Amy Brown of your high school.
Yes. Good reference. So
she's literally the only person that I know that paints fairies. I'm sure there's other ones, but I'm like, Amy Brown, yeah. I'll just say a generic female name. Yes.
Well, those in the know.
Yeah, exactly. So. You know Amy Brown. If you like fairies, you know Amy Brown.
You know Amy Brown, yeah. Yes. So we were that's just one thing that I was really attracted to. So then it turned into forests, and then it turned into nature, and then it just kept getting wider and wider and bigger, and then I just kept trying to find all the different connections for things. And then on top of this, this was also a time in my life, especially from high school on, where I was in a downward health spiral.
Oh, jeez.
So I was very sick. I thought it was normal. So, my MO was just to keep on keeping on and trudge on and keep doing what you're doing.
It was normal. You thought like everyone got that sick, or
I thought everybody needed to sleep 12 to 14 hours a day. I thought everybody needed to, or I thought everybody was in pain the moment that they woke up. I thought that it was normal that if you stubbed your toe, the pain went all the way up to your shoulders because your entire body tensed and was so inflamed that it was so sensitive that nothing felt good ever. Geez. So I had no idea that none of that was, I just thought it was like, oh, I was dealt, a bad a hand of cards. I'll take six to 18 ibuprofen a day, and
Oh my God. How long
we'll
did you
do
take
what we can do.
those? Did you take
That it was
ibuprofen for a long
it
time?
it was prescribed by my doctor and completely ruined my liver.
Oh,
So,
jeez. I was going to say because for some reason, I am like super weird about medication.
mhm.
And, well, I'm not like unknowingly super weird. If you don't know this about me, Abby, my parents used to be pot farmers when
Yes.
it was illegal. and for the longest time, I just thought they had this secret garden inside our home that
Mhm.
no one could really access, and I just told all my friends about it when I figured out that it was there, and I was like telling all my friends, my parents have this secret room full of light and plants. And I was just telling all my friends this, and then my mom comes to me one day. She's like, "What did you do? What did you tell everyone?" And I'm like, "Mom, I just told everyone the fucking cool garden that you have inside our home that's secret." And she was like, "If you have any questions, you can ask me." Because that's what my mom sounds like. And and so from that point, I didn't know for 10 more years. It took me until I was like 24 years old to realize that it was pot. It was marijuana.
It was marijuana. It was the ganja.
It was illegal. And for the longest time, I had no idea that was like a thing. And then when I met my husband, his brother was so sick. I was just so crazy scared to take medications.
Mhm.
And I was like, I don't think I'll take more than 4 ibuprofen. And I'll only take those 4 and then I'll go to sleep and nothing else. And even if I have a migraine, it'll be okay. It'll just
Oh
go
boy.
away eventually. And I mean, honestly, to be
It
fair,
does,
I
but-
don't have a lot of migraines. I don't get like one every day. I get
Yeah.
one like every couple months, which is
Yeah.
I'm very lucky to have that.
Mhm.
But my brother-in-law has this thing where he gets a migraine almost every single day.
Oof.
And he was taking ibuprofen so much, like
Yep.
his doctor prescribed him. He was taking so much that he got addicted to ibuprofen. His body became dependent upon
Yes.
it. So
Yep.
that when he tried to
Been
stop
there.
using it, he would get withdrawals. And he's the kind of person that gets like the 1% likability withdrawal. So for instance, he gets like all the weird side effects, all the side effects that are very, very unlikely. So he's no longer addicted or dependent upon ibuprofen, but he's been trying this other drug for migraines and has been working great, but he can't taste carbonation. Everything
Holy butts!
everything tastes flat to him. So,
That's
like,
insane.
beer tastes flat, ciders taste flat, soda tastes flat. Everything that has carbonation in it tastes flat.
I mean,
It's
yay for
insane.
being out of pain, but still, that would be really disorienting.
You know, I started giving him ciders and just being like, "Will you try my apple juice for me?" And he totally thinks it tastes like apple juice. It's insane. It's insane.
Oh my
So
gosh.
he has like the craziest side effects. But now you know. Now there's
Yep.
people like you that have also
It's-
been addicted to ibuprofen, and it's so
just-
sad.
But and then of course there's it was prescribed by my doctor, and then there was this whole trip of like, okay, well, I guess maybe you have depression, and so then I was
Oh my
so I
God,
was put
that's
on
the worst.
fluoxetine because they were like, well, we can't really pinpoint where all this pain's coming from, so we just think that it's all in your head, and then you started internalizing all of that from the age of 12, like
Right.
basically when you hit puberty, which is what all this was. It was all hormones. I have a myriad of hormone issues. And so that's the root cause. But at the time, and especially during college years, I was looking for something to take solace in, of being like, well, maybe if I learn and try something different, something positive could come out of this. And so that's one reason why I dived pretty heavy into it and hung out with the people that I did and made my grimoire and did a whole bunch of stuff and
So what did you mostly dabble in, pagan wise? What did you mostly
I didn't really do any rituals. I definitely wrote. I wrote a lot. So like
That's good.
I made a
Journaling is
lot of
important.
yeah, I made a lot of spells. I made a lot of what I thought were like good combinations. I mostly like became like a library of like people because they were just like, "Do you have this book?" And I was like, "Well, yes, I do." And or like, "Do you have a good thing for this?" And it's like, "Well, yeah, of course I do." So or I was like your local like pagan librarian. It was kind of fun.
That's
Um,
interesting.
yeah,
I
so
have I have been looking at paganism. I'm not really I understand some of the new age feelings.
mhm.
Like um
I would have killed for a digital grimoire back in the day. I would have killed for it.
Pinterest. Pinterest is
Mm-hmm.
now.
Mm-hmm.
um I get the whole allure of it. It's just like I'm very much I think I'm too confident in myself. I know that sounds terrible. That sounds
No.
so weird, but it's like I don't understand. Okay, for me, I think I was mentioning it the other day on stream. For me, rituals are not rituals. I've always called them good habits.
Yeah.
And so I just refer to them as good habits. That is
Mm-hmm.
something that I've always done. And I was never burdened, quote unquote, burdened. Some people may find Christianity like super awesome. I
Yeah.
have a very neutral stance on it because I grew up with atheist parents. And that's
In
just
the
like
Bible Belt.
yeah, in the Bible Belt. And so I was just exposed to a lot
Yep.
of Christians, and none of them were extremely terrible. I don't
Mm.
live near like the Westboro Baptist people, but it's just like for me, I have just experienced, I guess, quote unquote, religion as just like a passerby thing. So for me to see paganism, I approach it the same way as I do Christianity, which is just like an interest with culture. Like I
Yeah.
just find their culture interesting.
And I would say that's where I landed and
Right.
where I remain for most religions.
Okay.
I think I took a deeper dive just because it was so cool
Yeah.
and it was so new and it really it tightened up a lot of things that I already had interest in.
What do you like
Um,
most about paganism? What do you like most about it? A lot of
sim-
people say they like the fact of it being a living religion, like it's still
mhm,
growing and still evolving. Do
mhm.
you have other things that you like about it?
I like how applicable it is. I like how there's nearly a symbolism for everything.
Okay.
I like how there is this. I don't want to say there's this secretiveness to it because there is and there isn't because just like with anything you're allowed to live your life as comfortable as you feel
Mm-hmm.
but I definitely feel like there is a certain confidence, self-awareness and knowing that comes when you experience paganism, and I feel like
The one thing that I've
I was at a
noticed
good time with that.
Yeah, then one thing that I've noticed about paganism and witchcraft and stuff is really like empowering people,
Hmm.
really giving them something that they lacked before in another culture.
Yep.
And so that's the main reason why I think I'm like, oh, paganism is just kind of like what I live at day to day.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because I coming from a family of like atheists and people that aren't super religious,
Hmm.
we don't have shame, which is a
Yeah.
very weird thing to not have, I guess, in the South.
And I grew up with fucking Irish Catholics, so we are rife with shame. Rife with it. We
So
have
it's
Irish
like
Alzheimer's, we have all of it, where you don't forget anything but your
you
grudges.
don't forget
So
anything but your grudges.
it's just it's awful. And I did not
Oh
have the best relationship growing up with organized religion,
my god. Mm-hmm.
and I still tend to keep it at
I
an
think
arm's length.
organized religion is really scary to me. Just from like everything that I've heard, like Scientology is very organized.
Oh yeah.
Um, Typically, all the really culty things are super organized and legalistic. They have a lot of laws, and they're like, "Oh, you can't do this before noon on Sundays," which is buy beer here. You can't buy alcohol before noon on days that are Sunday, which is terrible. Why do you do that to me? Harris Teeter, my local grocery store. I need wine. I'm not going to drink it right then unless it's a celebratory thing, my friend. Abby, one day it was my friend's wedding. And I wanted to surprise her with champagne. And I had to wait 20 minutes because I went to the store at 11:40 and they said, you can't buy champagne or any wine or alcohol until noon. And so I stood there in line and waited and made everyone wait. I made everyone wait behind me because they would not let me buy my champagne.
Then you should have said, if I can't buy... That's true. Then you should have said, if I can't buy champagne, can I at least buy this champagne? And maybe they would have allowed you to do it.
It's actually the computer that doesn't allow you.
Oh,
which is crazy. Damn. I know. Damn. It's ridiculous.
They self-service my ass.
Yeah, I know. But, okay, so I get why you like paganism. So what made you realize you didn't need paganism anymore? So first off, I have a question. You said that you turned in your grimoire.
Yeah.
So what is a grimoire to you?
So my grimoire was all of my notes. It was, it was organized. I had, these artful little doodles in it. I had things that I learned. I put down my feelings after I did certain things.
Oh, that's very personal.
Yeah, oh. But I as as personal as it sounds, I'm also very clinical. Yeah. I was a sociologist at that time because I was basically diving headfirst into everything sociology. Right. And so for me it was recording the effects. It was art. It was creative, but it was also clinical at the same time. And it was so much work and so much free time. And I just had so much joy making it that I started, after I was feeling disconnected from everything, after I felt like I didn't need to do all the things that I needed to do anymore. I just had that feeling like one day where I was just like, I think I'm good. Like I have, and I've experienced all the things that I've wanted, and I will hold these truths and I will keep these. But I didn't feel like I needed to continue that at one point which almost felt like a manic behavior. So I didn't want to keep it anymore, but I did so much. I did so many things. I had one grimoire, but then I had like 4 other books. And I had a really nice library, and I was like, well, I don't really want these things to go to waste. So I turned them into one of the local covens. It was one of the she was in her 50s, I want to say, over there, and we had a meetup, and it was close to graduation, and I was like, hey, I think I'm good with my stuff, and I don't really know what to do it. And she goes, I will use it to teach other people. And I was like, that sounds like a great plan. And
so you felt like you no longer needed those things.
Correct.
And you just kind of had retained all the information that you found useful to yourself, and then you were like, have the rest, here you are.
Yeah, I had enough experiences to know what I wanted to carry. And it was I don't know, it was a feeling. It was a feeling that I didn't need that anymore.
That's really cool, because that's how I feel all the time.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's so interesting because for living in the Bible Belt, there's so many people here that rely so heavily on certain things, and it's like, is it weird for me to rely on myself so much? Like, is it strange? And so you saying that makes me feel a lot better.
It's definitely not strange, but it's definitely not usual.
Yeah.
I will say that and there are certain things that I will feel more dependent for that I will look for either guidance or something reaffirming.
Right.
But for the most part, like at that point in my life, I left my grimoire and then I left my boyfriend at the time.
And you were like, goodbye, luggage.
Peace. Yeah, basically. And then came back home and it was great.
No offense, boyfriend of the past.
No offense, boyfriend.
No,
Nah.
no offense. You were fine for the pagan ways.
Yeah.
But we no longer need to do witchcraft with witchy boys. Was he a witch?
No, not at all.
Okay.
He was actually somebody I met through gaming.
Aww.
So, yeah.
What is your favorite video game?
My favorite video game? Banjo-Kazooie.
Oh!
Banjo-Kazooie on Nintendo 64. Yeah.
That's all I know. That's my only Banjo-Kazooie impression. There you are.
I would really like that to be one of my Twitch alerts now. Thank you so much.
That's so wonderful. So, okay. So I had assumed that most people, and I'm probably right in assuming that most people just feel like, not that they have a bad experience with paganism, and they're just like, I'm done with this. It's just like everything else. It's more like they just grow out of it, which I think is very apt for the religion itself, because it's all about growth. It's all about personal growth. It's all about like growing yourself, growing your, your friends, growing relationships, so on and so forth. And then once you grow out of it, you're kind of like, okay, I'm done with this. Can someone else make use of it? That's pretty cool.
Yep. And that's also just kind of the way you put your energy out there, and you added what you could and what you felt like you needed to, and you either built yourself up to the point where you didn't need it, or that energy carries with you always. And I feel like that's really what it is. That's
really cool.
Yeah.
So earlier you said there was a spooky experience that you had.
Oh, I have quite a few.
Okay, all right, okay. So how many spooky experiences? Can you like put them in like fingers?
Fingers? Definitely. Oh, definitely. So, I can think of the ones that directly happened to me, and then I can think of the ones that happened to me with association.
Oh,
so yeah,
they're by association. What do you mean, like happened to you by association?
Like if I wasn't the one affected, but I was around it enough. Okay, I was there. Okay. But I definitely have ones where there was just like, that's okay. That was at me. Okay, cool.
Thanks. Just told me a really, really spooky one last week. So so we can talk about all of them if you'd like. I'm ready. I don't believe in ghosts. I wish I did. I don't have any spooky experiences. Well, I have one, but I'm pretty sure it was my mom fucking with me. So and I have very hippie parents, so it's like, hello, they would definitely fuck with their children, but also it's like, I don't really know. Like, they could have been fucking with me, but maybe they weren't. It was just this one place my mom took me to. It was it was actually an estate sale, essentially.
Okay.
And there was a couple of things that happened there that could not really be explained. And they still had all the old furniture, and my mom was a rehab broker, so she was a broker for a real estate agency, and she would rehab different places. And one particular place, she was like, Blossoming Sun, come with me, and I want you to take pictures, because at the time I was really into taking pictures, and this was also before people had like digital cameras, so I was using disposable cameras. It was fun. It was very fun. And
nice.
I took a picture of this really old TV with a dial. You know the ones where you used to turn it? Yeah. Yep. And so I was like, this is fun. So I took a picture of the TV, even though I didn't really need to. I was only supposed to be taking pictures of the spaces. And when I took a picture of the TV and my mom, there was a couple things that happened while we were there, while I was taking pictures. And then my mom blamed all of those things on me, which is not what happened. It was all her, but it's fine. She got the photos developed, and then in the TV, I had taken this picture of the whole entire TV with a little bit of the surroundings, and there was a woman's face in the TV while it was completely off. The TV was
Malanta.
completely turned off. And it's just this young woman's face, a little bit older than I was at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And her eyes were closed. And you didn't get to see any of her hair. It was just her face and her eyes were closed. And my mom went back and she swore up and down that she could not find anything that could create that reflection in the TV. I don't believe her, Abby, because she's a liar. But also because she likes to fuck with me. So that's the only... And I didn't feel
That's a good
out.
one.
That's a good one, but I also didn't.
That's a good one.
I never felt creeped out at that point in time. I always felt safe. She was with me all the time.
Yeah.
It was never like, ooh, it's nighttime. Like, you don't go to a place to take pictures in the nighttime.
No.
You take pictures in the daytime. But that's my only time where I was like, oh, maybe something is there in the afterlife. And that's the only time that I questioned it, but I'm still very skeptical, especially going after, I went to a sanatorium with my friend Cricket, and my husband was like filming us, and he was like, do you feel spooky? And I was like, I feel nothing. And so that was it. We went to a cemetery once, and he was like, do you feel spooky again? And I was like, nope, I feel nothing. So constantly I'm feeling nothing, but that's fine. So would you categorize yourself as an empath? Would you categorize yourself where you have feelings of other people? You know what's interesting is that I consider myself a null. Do you know like null? Yeah. Like I don't feel anyone's feelings. I'm very scientific. If someone is very upset, I can register that they're upset, but I do not feel how upset they are. Even if they're crying in front of me, I take a very logical approach to be like, why are you upset? What can I do to help you? And so on and so forth. It's not like I get affected by their sadness. So it's really interesting. I have to say, you lucky bitch. First of all, because I live in a family of empaths. Oh, wow. And so, and I myself would I would probably consider myself one. I 100%, just as much as I need energy of my own and silence and quiet to recharge, I need to be around people. And that ultimately also means that I'm getting all of their either good or bad juju. It has made our family quite susceptible to some creepy things, and I feel like that has both. People that are empathic are more likely to get ghosts. There's an energy, man. Like there's I've always had spirits can pick up on it, and they're like, we can fuck with these people. And see, I'm less of the believer that there are. I don't believe that spirits are smart. I don't believe that they are truly sentient. I think that they are more just leftover residual energies. Oh, yes. Okay. I 100% believe that they're that. Because I was wondering that for a long time when we first went to the sanatorium, which was the first spooky place that I went to. I was like, first off, why are these people just letting these ghosts hang around and not helping them pass on? Right? But then I found out a lot of people don't believe that they're actual full spirits that are sentient. Correct. Or it's very hard to find out whether or not they're sentient. Yep. But if they're not sentient, they're not really going to leave. Even if you try and guide them to leaving, they're just kind of impressions. They're there. Yep. Yes. So I was like, okay, that's interesting. And I typically co-sign the Catholicism belief that if something talks back to you, it's not good. So you think there's demons? I think that there is negativity out there. I don't subscribe to the same like devil horn. Okay. Yeah. All right. It's less of the it's less of the whole hokey pokey, spooky Mormon hell dream type of a thing. My friend has been like trying to like be like, hey, not all demons are bad. And I'm like, bitch, yeah, the demons. I mean, that is partially true, but also not all angels are good. So okay, I agree.
There's two sides to every coin. Yeah.
Not all demons are bad. Okay, but they're demons for a reason. Yeah. They weren't just they're not there to make your day better, my friend. So, okay, all right. So tell me one of your spooky. Okay, let's start with the college, shall we? Let's
Oh,
start
sure.
with that because that's the first one that you mentioned was like you had experienced.
Yeah.
Let's start with
So,
that one.
well, I've definitely had experiences all my life.
Okay.
I've had one since I've been little, but this one
What's like
was
the youngest? What's the youngest that you remember?
the youngest that I
Like just the
remember.
age. Yeah.
Oh, it was the first time I was left by myself in my grandmother's basement.
No, 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 no. First of all, why are you in your grandmother's basement? Who leaves you
Okay.
there?
Okay.
Abby,
No.
you don't have very good parents. Do I need to call social services? Who leaves a child in a basement?
Okay, first of all,
Oh, honey, we'll just leave you here. We're gonna lock the door behind you. You're fine.
I was old enough to travel myself.
Okay.
I was old enough to travel myself. I was 6, maybe 5.
Oh my god.
So now my grandmother's house is enormous. My grandmother had 8 kids
Oh my god.
of her own. Yes,
Oh
my grandmother had 8 kids of her own, and then took in 6 more after
Jesus
after her sister-in-law died.
Okay, so what is that?
I'm saying it on the record.
So
My grandmother was a
14.
fucking saint. So yes, she was a saint of a human being, and is my inspiration every day. Yes, she's amazing. Was amazing. May she rest in peace. So,
Grandma YebbaDebba, may you forever rest in peace and never have to take care of children ever again. Oh my God.
actually, I can tell you about the time that we talked with a psychic, and she's actually very busy with future great grandchildren up there.
Jesus Christ.
So it's a thing. It's a thing. I'll tell you about that maybe in another podcast because it's a whole thing. I didn't sign on for it, but I also signed on to it, and then
It's fine.
it was
I love
intense.
her.
Yeah, it was intense. So we were so over the generations,
Mhm.
every few family members out of each age group has at some point or another, but not necessarily to each other, talked about this weird feeling that sits on you when you are in the basement.
Interesting. Okay.
And I actually learned about it when I talked to my dad a couple years ago. And, I made the joke in saying, oh, you never want to be the last one to turn off the lights in grandma's basement. And he sort of just looked at me and he gave me that knowing dad look of like, what the fuck did you just say? And I looked at him and I was like, what? And he was just like, are you talking about the witch in the basement?
There's a witch in the basement.
And I said, what is the witch in the basement? And he's like, well, do you always feel that really creepy feeling, whether you're with people or you're alone, that something's there?
Oh no!
And I said,
no.
And I said, yeah. I said, I think every grandkid has 100% felt that, especially when we're down there.
Yeah.
It was just this weird aura, and it came and it went. It was never persistent. It was just this weird feeling that suddenly somebody's watching you.
So how long has that house been in your family?
Well, it's ever since I've been a kid, for sure.
Wow.
So it was it's empty now, but
Right.
it was 19. It was really close to when my dad was born. I want to say early 1960s.
Wow.
And it was built over other houses, not necessarily on other houses, but it was built around other houses that had been there.
Mm-hmm.
It was really close to a barn, like a really full service large barn that had happened over there. And then it was on a swamp.
Oh,
which if you know, yes. So which if you know anything about the types of energies that can be held, especially with running underground water, which there was, and a number of other things. I don't know. There's something that stayed there, but I didn't have any proof that it was anything. Some people talked about seeing things out of the corners of their eyes. I never saw anything. It was never something that manifested until I was walking my dog on my grandma's property. So this is very recent. This is a couple years ago. This is after the house has been emptied. I'm walking Mozzie, and as some of you may or may not know,
Mozzie
Mozzie is
super cute.
He's adorable. He's extra long, just like Remy.
He's extra long. Oh, I love
he's extra long.
His ears don't perk up though, right? His ears
no,
are
he's still floppy. Yeah, he's still floppy. So we're walking along, and Mozzie likes to go to this part of the hill where we have a bunch of fake statue deers, and because my dog is the sweetest thing on this planet, he likes to go up and kiss them and make sure that he knows that he's there to see his friends. So he's trotting, he's walking up, and then he just freezes. And I see the hackles raise on his back, and I see his shoulders tense, and I see his nose flare, and I'm like, oh shit, okay, is there like a raccoon or something? Is there anything? Like I'm looking for coyotes, I'm looking for raccoons, we're out in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, I'm surrounded by trees, and we're right by one of the bigger lakes on the property, and I look up, and I still to this day can't fully explain it, but it was just this black mass that was on top of the water.
Ooh, no.
And it moved very quick, and I remember seeing the ripple.
That's spooky.
I froze, and I did a couple blinks, and I don't remember registering anything else visually.
Wow.
But it was just, I felt a really weird energy. I felt like I was trespassing. I've been at this house my entire life, and that was the first time I felt like I shouldn't be here right now.
Right, yeah. Your fight or flight was like,
yep, it was completely on fire.
Go, Abby.
It was completely on fire.
Go.
So, how do you know my inner voice sounds like? That was very accurate. So that was one of the more recent things. I just remember sort of looking at Mozzie and being like, okay. We need to go. Yeah, we need to go. And for the rest of the day, he could not stay awake.
Oh,
for the rest of the day. For the rest of the day, he was completely zapped of energy, and I was like, well, fuck you, you stupid witch. Yeah, you stole my dog's energy. You're a bastard. So,
you know what? It's okay. He can nap as much as he needs,
and he does, he does.
Yeah.
So, but that was probably my most recent creepy encounter.
That's interesting. And the first time that you ever felt something creepy was in that basement, still on the same property.
I feel like because it was empty now, that it was a bit more venomous than it had been in past years. I feel like it
lonely.
It either
sad to think. Oh.
I hope not, because it never made itself known enough to want to do anything. But that was not a great feeling, whatever it gave me that day. So that was a no bueno.
That's no bueno at all.
Yeah. But college, oh my gosh.
Okay, so college, yes.
So my college was definitely known for having some drama.
You mean drama as in like spooky drama, or like drama like click?
Drama as in like there were quite a few suicides.
Oh wow! Oh jeez.
I actually had 2 people die while I was there.
Oh my god! Seriously?
Yeah. One of them died in a horrible sleep apnea mishap.
Oh, that sounds very difficult to do.
It was very difficult. She lived on my floor, and it was awful.
Oh man.
And then we had another incident of someone was sent home when they should not have been sent home. They should have been sent to some type of psychiatric care, and she unfortunately did take her life. So when she went home, yeah, because it was one of those. And she gave it as an ultimatum, and they still didn't fucking listen to her. So it's still a point of contention to this day at my school.
There was,
do better, motherfuckers.
Yeah, there was a girl at one of my really good friends when I was in high school, and we had just moved into college. One of my friends had gone to Palm Beach Atlantic. I can't remember. I think PBA is the correct name. Palm Beach Atlantic, and one of them, it was a very Christian school. It was very, very Catholic school. And apparently one of the girls, they believed her to be actually possessed.
Oh my
and
God.
she ended up taking her life when she was sent home. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Like she had tried to jump off of a building's roof while she was at PDA. Yeah, but there was like, she was like trying to bite people sometimes, like trying to grab people and hurt people. And so they legitimately thought like she was a danger to others and as well as herself. But for some reason they felt like they needed to send her home instead of send her to a hospital. I don't really understand that.
I don't
But
understand that either.
It's so crazy. But yeah, so instead of sending her to a hospital, like I'd assume, they sent her home. I don't know if it's because she lived far away, but it was my best friend at the time's college that she had gone to after we had graduated high school. And she was just like, this girl tried to jump off our roof. And I was like, what?
That's insane.
It is insane. It's insane. So that's spooky. So at your college, though, people have apparently done things and succeeded.
And also, it's been around since the 1830s. So the buildings itself carry quite a weight and quite some energy. Right. There is just like a snapshot of some of the other things. There is a painting that is surrounded by plexiglass because every time it was moved, one of the dorms caught on fire.
Oh my God.
It was a really weird happenstance. And they're like, hey, for insurance's sake, we should probably stop doing that.
Yeah. No, seriously.
Yeah. And then there is a weird person, a question mark. I put a question mark after that. That's seen in the library every now and then.
Okay.
And the library is the thickest of the thick carols that you could ever imagine. So you are neck and neck with books. There are windy turns wherever you go. It's beautiful. It's a wonderful, fabulous place. I loved being in it. But if you took a wrong turn and you did not know where the fuck you were going,
you were lost for a while.
You were lost. Yeah, you were lost, and it was not a good feeling. And having that panic, I'm sure, has affected some people's eyesight. I never saw anything, so, but I know that was one of them. But the two experiences that I had. Was one when I was a prospective student. I stayed at one of the dorms that was known as for being the haunted dorm. And then I was staying on the floor that was known to be the haunted floor. And I was staying in the room right across the hallway from what is known as the haunted room. The president in the 1990s of the college actually tried to stay in the room to debunk people, to be like, stop fucking complaining about this. This actually isn't real. Like you are well-educated women and you need to get over this shit. She didn't make it past 2 a.m.
Oh my God.
And then she took it away from being a dorm and turned it into a athletic closet.
Oh, well, you know what? That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So while I was a prospective student, and funnily enough, I was actually rooming with one of my future friend of the graduating class's older sister. So it was a pretty funny happenstance. Cool. After the fact, yeah. And so I was laying down, I was on the futon, I was like ready to go to bed, and the door cracked open.
No.
The hell? No. So, the RA, it was the RA, she got up and she went and closed the door and she goes, happens all the time.
Happens all the time, Abby.
I was like, cool.
All the time. Cool.
And
at least it's not a dude, bro. You know what I mean?
At least it's not someone actually entering your...
At least it's not...
It's just a mild inconvenience.
It's just a mild inconvenience. At least it's not a physical dick-holding being.
It's true.
You know what I mean? At least there's a real dick there.
It's true. And as someone...
phantasmical dick.
Right? Oh my God. And as someone who had... it's still probably one of my top 5 fears. My top 5 fears is definitely a home invasion, especially living in a tiny studio apartment.
Oh, I'm so glad that you say that. Because people are like...
my number one is gnomes, so I kind of lose credibility after that, but...
You said gnomes?
I'm terrified of garden gnomes.
Terrified of garden gnomes?
I'm terrified of them. It doesn't matter. I read R.L. Stein at a wrong age. My dad did a really bad practical joke, and my life is over.
No, he reinforced it. He's the real physical dick. That's what it is.
I'm gonna send him that in a text.
Oh God.
My friend Masami's son calls you a real physical dick.
Your gnome pranks have gone too far, Father.
Too far. Too far, dare I say. Oh my God.
Oh, okay, so the door cracks open a little bit, and you're like,
So the door cracks open a little bit, and she's like, it happens all the time. I was like, okay.
Okay.
Happened 2 more times. The third time, she didn't bother. She was just like, do you mind if it stays open? I was like, no, it's okay.
Obviously, they want to come in. The gnomes.
Yep.
They want to. I'm not going to mention gnomes anymore. I feel like you have a very serious aversion to gnomes, so we're going to exist.
I have quite a physical reaction to seeing them. I saw people in costume at Gen Con, and I literally did one of those. And I felt like I was a little nauseous, and I'm like, I gotta go.
Have you watched Gravity Falls?
I have seen episodes of Gravity Falls. I know that there is a gnome that pukes rainbows, but I have not actually seen it. Rainbows? I think so.
There might be in one of the super late episodes, but like in the first episode, there's like these gnomes that want to marry the main character's sister. But they're nice. They're nice. They're not spooky.
They can literally serve me ramen, and I will still be terrified of them.
No,
please like no.
Me. Please,
I have to turn that ramen down. So the third time it just stays open.
Okay.
And so everybody listening to this is like, get to the fucking story. Who gives a shit about your gnomes? So she's like, okay, well, I'm ready for bed. So I'm just gonna go ahead and turn off the light. I was like, all right, sounds good. It's 10:30, my usual bedtime. We're good to go.
10:30 is so early.
When you sleep 14 hours, you know.
Yeah, you know.
And so I'm sitting there, and by sitting there I mean laying down.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have that same feeling like I described before of being watched. There is none of that, like there's something in the corner. There's none of that feeling.
Right.
But there is a definite pressure.
Right. On your chest.
It is actually by my feet.
Oh, no.
And I remember looking over by there, and I remember it being a lot darker than the other places.
No.
And the door's open, the lights open, the lights on in the hallway. There's no, but I'm not panicked. I don't feel I feel very neutral. Like there's something happening. It's whatever at this point. I think I'm just gonna succumb to sleep and just kind of take a nap.
Right.
So I have to get up a couple hours later. I very, very much ill-timed my water and had to get up in the middle of the night. So it was like 3:30-ish a.m. And I go to the bathroom. There's a bathroom on every floor.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a communal bathroom.
Again, there's how most dorms are, but yeah.
Yeah. And there's a girl in there brushing her teeth. And
at 3 o'clock in the morning.
At 3 o'clock in the morning, it was a good day for her.
This girl's been partying. But well done on your hygiene.
Exactly.
I have to say,
kudos to you.
You are brushing your teeth at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Agreed.
Well
I think she might have been high as a kite. But
probably. But you know what? She's doing hygiene. So
exactly. Good for her.
Devil's lettuce, smoke it, and then brush your teeth.
May as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I go to the bathroom and I come out and wash my hands, and she's like, "Hey, you're the prospy," and I was like, "Yeah, I'm really liking it so far." And she asked me classes, and we're talking, and then we both hear a door slam.
No.
And I look at her, and I was just like, "Oh, is someone else up?" And she goes, "Honestly, it really happens all the time in here. Like, I wouldn't worry about it too much." And I looked at her, and I was like, "All right, you are like the third person who has told me that this shit happens all the time. Like, what's the deal?" Mm-hmm. And she's like, "Well, I probably shouldn't tell you while you're staying here, but maybe tomorrow someone will tell you. And I was like, well, shit. And so at that point, I'm like, okay,
like,
there's clearly...
okay. I'm not going to sleep for the rest of the evening. Thank you.
I eventually succumbed to my sleep again and slept for a couple more hours. But then in the morning when I went to breakfast and everything, I was actually talking to the person who takes the meal cards at the front. He was asking me a whole bunch of questions.
Right.
And it's like, oh, where are you from? I'm from Chicago. Oh, you're taking it. It's a ways away for you, and blah blah blah. So. And we were chatting, and I asked him, I was like, so do you know, like, everybody keeps asking me that a lot of creepy things happen here all the time. Why does this keep happening? And he's like, oh, well, somebody was murdered in the upstairs room. I was like, somebody was murdered?
Just casually.
And he was like, yeah.
It was just casual murder.
It didn't get on the ceiling. It's okay. And so I asked him, and it was a story. It happened in the 1930s. Scorned lover, jealous boyfriend comes back, bada bing, bada boom. Your regular trope type of a thing. So learned that, and just since then, and since everybody that I've known that stayed in that dorm, that has been a pretty consistent experience for all of them. It feels like somebody's in their room. They don't feel threatened by it. They don't feel scared. Mm-hmm. I've never felt that weird disembodied pressure before. So that was kind of the first time I had felt that, and I think it's really the only time I've been touched by something I didn't see.
Right.
So that was I know anticlimactic, but it was just one of those experiences. Yeah, but it was an experience that I wasn't anticipating. It didn't deter my want to go to the college.
You didn't end up living in or staying in that dorm, right?
No, it was a pretty hot in demand location. It's like right smack dab in the middle of the campus. Really? It's like awesome.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah, because it's one of the older buildings. Extremely haunted. Great location. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I stayed in a couple other ones. I actually had a 3-person suite with a bathroom one year because it was dope. God. Yeah, Suites it was dope. It was dope. We smoked a lot in that bathroom.
What is the spookiest that you've ever experienced?
The spookiest was the one me and my friends probably still won't talk about.
You won't talk about it?
No. And I have people. I have people. Well, I mean, I'll talk about it, but like as a collective group, it was just so it was so unimaginably potentially false.
What do you mean potentially false?
Like it was one of those it was so unbelievable that it physically can't be real.
So here's the thing with me is that I trust my friends. And I believe in every word that they say.
Yep.
So, like, this past week, Cricket confided in me on the spookiest, like, thing that she's ever experienced. Mm-hmm. And she was explaining there was a place that she went to, her friend's house. He lives on this very large quartz deposit. Like,
that's not good.
Largest, one of the largest in the world.
That's not good.
And then he took... From the quartz mine, he took a piece and brought it back to his house. And so he lived on the quartz deposit, and then he brought this piece of quartz back to his house, and the weird stuff started to happen.
Yeah.
And she goes to his house, and they're playing World of Warcraft.
Nice.
And
for the horde bitches.
Yeah, hell yeah. And she is, like, playing it with them, and then she has to go to the bathroom. Mm-hmm. And she's there with her boyfriend and a couple of her friends, and they're all just playing World of Warcraft together. And while they're playing WoW, she has to go to the bathroom. So she goes down to the bathroom in the bottom where the basement is. Mm-hmm. She goes in there, and she has struggled with chronic illness all her life. Mm. And so she goes into the bathroom, she uses the bathroom, and then when she steps to the sink where the mirror is, she looks into the mirror, and she said to me, while she almost cried, she said that she looked sicker and like she was on the edge, the brink of death. Mm. That's how sick she looked. Like she had finally succumbed to all of the chronic illnesses that she had to deal with. Now, she believed oh, maybe it's just because I've been staying up for several hours out
Mm-hmm.
of each day playing WoW. Maybe I just look extremely tired.
Mm-hmm.
So she got really scared. She finished washing her hands or whatever, dried them off, ran upstairs, and she said, "Do I look okay? Do I look okay?" And
Mm-hmm.
she kept asking everyone, "Do I look okay?" And they were like, "Yeah, you look a little tired, but you look fine." So she looked in the bathroom upstairs where the mirror was, and she looked fine. She did not look anything like what she looked downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was interesting because I was like, that's fucking spooky. Because she literally almost cried when she was recounting this to me. And I was like, oh my God.
And
That's really
that's
scary.
yeah, and again, and that's sort of the I don't want to use the word power, but that's 100% what it is. That's the power of those types of energies, especially when they're amplified and
Mm-hmm.
especially if they're malicious.
Mm-hmm.
I have very rarely come across any I did have an incident. I think that's my most powerful moment.
Yeah.
It wasn't creepy. Um but it was I mean I guess it could be considered creepy. Um but my most powerful moment where I had like just such a physical reaction
Mm-hmm.
to it is this was back in the early 2000s. My grandfather was very ill.
Okay.
He had emphysema and lung cancer.
Oh, wow.
Still smoked while he was on oxygen. He was one of those.
Wow.
Yeah. Uh, barely didn't even make it really to 60. And so I was in the guest room because I was having trouble sleeping in my room.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was in the guest room. And I remember falling asleep watching television because I didn't have a TV in my room. So I was watching television. I fell asleep in the guest room. And I remember being asleep. And then I remember the next moment I remember is me feeling like I was waking up, but I wasn't really waking up, but I was still definitely dreaming.
Interesting.
And I looked over and my grandfather was sitting in the chair. And he just looked at me and he said, "It's time to wake up now, YebbaDebba." And that was my nickname, YebbaDebba from him.
Aww.
And I remember physically waking up and feeling very startled.
Okay.
And I still have those feelings.
Right.
And I remember my mom pacing in the hallway. I wasn't expecting to get choked up.
Oh, no, it's okay.
I hear my mom pacing in the hallway. And she says, "We don't know what happened. He died in his sleep."
So he was saying goodbye.
So, yep.
That's so sweet. YebbaDebba's a cute nickname.
It was a really cute nickname. One of the best.
best.
One of the I think that
really
might have been
cute.
I think that might have been
You know
the
what that
partial.
You know what that reminds
Which-
me of? Harriet and the Spy. Like you're like a little you're like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just a cute it's like something like Matilda. It reminds me of like something that you would call a little heroine in like one of those stories. Like
The Adventures of
Matilda.
YebbaDebba would have
Yeah!
100%
Oh my God,
been a best-selling book.
100%. It's like YebbaDebba. Oh my God, that's so cute.
Yeah. So that by far is my most powerful.
That's your powerful. That's the one that you connect to the most.
That's
that,
my most powerful moment.
Yeah.
I had something similar with my other grandfather.
Oh my God!
But that
you
one,
should know both your grandfathers. That's super cool.
And I didn't. I knew him. Like I was almost 3. I was a little older than 3 when he died.
Okay.
And I very vividly. It's one of my it's unfortunately one of my first memories. I very vividly remember his funeral.
Oh, jeez. You know what? I remember my grandfather's funeral.
Yeah.
Not extremely vividly, but I remember his funeral because, like, I was screaming to leave.
Yeah.
like
Sounds about right.
my mom wanted me to go into the room with her, and I was like, no! And I'm like screaming, and like I want to run away.
It's
And
a lot.
I'm not understanding
No.
why she wants me to go to this room where like everyone is staring at a dead person, and I'm
No.
just so like I don't understand, and I don't like I have no empathy whatsoever, because I'm like this null person that just doesn't. I'm only concerned with myself. And I'm like, no, Mom. And I scream in the middle of the funeral home. Like, these people probably think my mother is abusing me. And she's not doing anything. She's just asking me to go into this room with her. And I'm like, no. And I run down the hall and I run out of the funeral home. And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, no. So, but to be fair, don't make your children do that. Don't do that.
Kind of. It's the same with hugging. It's the
Yeah.
same with hugging. Like if they're down for it, go for it. But if they don't want to do it, don't
like
force them.
under 7, they will remember. If they're
No.
more than 2 or 3, they will remember. Like, don't make them do that. I remember that day for all of my life.
And
that will be the first thing that I remember.
Well, and I just remember absorbing like everybody's emotions.
Yeah, because
like,
you remember how sad everyone looks, you know?
And it was very sudden. It was extremely sudden for my one grandfather. He slipped into a diabetic coma on the couch.
Oh,
like it was just like it was sudden that it happened. And so I very much remember that grief, and I think that's probably what has made it very well imprinted in my brain.
Right.
Was definitely that. And then but then my other grandfather with his very deep bass borderline baritone voice saying time to wake up now, YebbaDebba was definitely my most powerful moment.
What's the moment that you were the most scared?
Oh, it was definitely the one in the car driving in rural Massachusetts.
Okay, first of all, rural Massachusetts is obviously scary in and of itself.
Now there aren't banjos. It's not.
No
I don't feel like
thank God.
I don't feel like I'm in Deliverance. I don't feel like I'm in Pennsylvania. But it's still one of those like, whew, I'm in the middle of bumfuck nowhere. And I grew up close to the middle of bumfuck nowhere for high school. So, but it was so strange. We take the same route every time from college to we would go to, I'm sure we went to Route 9 Diner, which is one of the diners that we went to. So we we went to a diner late night. I'm pretty sure I don't think I was that drunk. I didn't really get drunk then because I couldn't process alcohol, part of the health issues type of a thing. But I would say that we were toasted. So
toasted.
We were toasted. We were toasted on our way there. We were very well satisfied and well fed on our way back. You know, we had enough greasy stuff to absorb most of the alcohol, and we were sobering up. But we got to this one part where there is 100% a creepy old, definitely around the era of Edgar Allan Poe graveyard happening.
That's and cool.
It's actually really cool. It's gorgeous in the day, and driving by it at night is a thing. And I live also I used to live also by a really haunted road where I grew up. And in Chicago, we have Bachelor Cemetery. We have the whole 9 yards coming up over here. We have graveyards.
Stuff in Chicago, really?
Oh fuck yes, we do. Are you kidding me? We can go see where Marshall Field hung himself. Like, there's all that stuff. The Marshall Field's big department store owner from Chicago. Actually, I don't know if it was him or family member. I don't actually remember the story.
Interesting.
But he's really cool. Macy's bought them out a number of years ago, but it was a Chicago-owned, Chicago-done, Chicago amazing department store, and the building down here is fucking gorgeous. The Walnut Room choice.
Interesting.
Yes. So we were driving, and we're laughing, we're giggling, we're doing the whole bunch of stuff, and then we are at the stop sign by the graveyard.
Okay.
And we see lights in the graveyard. Like
Interesting.
they look like they look like someone lit candles.
Right. Yeah. Like someone's
they're
lighting
still
candles.
they're still at a distance.
Okay.
There's nothing truly very clear. So we're
Right.
like, cool, whatevs. And everyone but the driver has this really weird urge to look in the same direction.
Really?
So we all look in the same direction.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And near one of the very close headstones, very, very tall headstone, it has a cross on the top of it, one of those big Celtic crosses. Has one of the crosses, or one of the gravestones right there. We 100%, the three of us, minus the driver, see a mass with a white face and the creepiest, most chilling red and black eyes I have ever seen in my life.
Oh, no.
And there was a jovial time that we were in that ride, and we did not talk for the rest of the car ride. Because we could not process what we had just seen, because it was one of those things of that literally only happens in movies. That cannot be real.
Yep.
And so I remember glancing at one of my friends, and she was just white as a sheet.
Oh, geez.
And I'm sure I looked very similar. We both had really weird feelings. I did not connect at all with the person in the front seat, so I have no idea what they were feeling.
Right.
Driver was the only one talking.
Oh, geez. Because they didn't see.
Because they didn't see it.
Whoa!
And that one by far is the one that has been like,
oh man,
like I can explain most things. I can say that is an impression, that is a feeling, that is an emotion, that is I have no idea.
Did you feel anything when you saw it?
Complete and utter dread. There was it was this weird. It looked like if the Hunchback of Notre Dame met with Nosferatu, but had no face's face.
No.
That is what that is what it looked like, what it felt like. It was uninviting. It was awful. It was bad juju, if I could use the technical term.
Yeah, for real.
It was that one was by far my most unexplainable. To this day, I don't know what it was. It was one of those. It could have been someone in a mask. It could have been someone putting on a prank. It could have been someone doing anything.
But why would they be there? You know what I mean? Like they didn't.
And there was no reason for them to be there. There was no. Honestly, there was no sign of life. There was nothing. There was nothing tangible about what I saw. Like even the candles, like the candlelight, none of it felt real. It was not cool. Like it felt like it's fake. It felt like I actually saw that in a movie. 100%. It feels like I actually saw that in a movie, and I'm just projecting my thoughts. Like my brain is still telling me, you didn't see that.
Right, exactly. You're like,
you didn't see that.
We're fine.
We're great.
That was fake.
And my heart's going ba-bump, 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 ba-bump.
Your heart's like, that was a ghost. We're gonna get fucked.
Bitch, get out of here.
Yeah.
Bitch, bug out. Exactly. Where's your bag?
Goodbye. Man, that's so crazy.
So jeez. those are some of my highlight stories. We've done other escapades. We've done the urban exploring. I've done the sanitarium exploring. I've done the graveyard exploring.
Maybe one day I'll have something spooky like that. See, the thing is, the scariest ones are the ones you don't expect. That's the problem.
And that is 100% what it is all of those instances were things that I was not expecting something to happen.
Expected, and you were not prepared. And
no.
So like you had all these other feelings fueling you, and it's just like, oh my god, I don't have that. I need it.
Yep.
I need it, but I don't have it. It's fine. One day I'll be there. So thank you so much for sharing those spooky stories with me.
100%.
And for talking about paganism with me.
It's a trip when people want it. So
it's a trip.
It's a trip.
Do people in your family know that you were like pagan at all?
Not really. They knew that I was like super elemental and
when you say super elemental, what do you mean?
I was really into crystals. I was really into symbolism, numerology, mythology, and it kind of all stemmed from that. So
you know what you just made me think of? Have you ever seen that movie called 23 with Jim Carrey? Oh my god, it's awful.
Oh, the numbers one?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I've actually seen it, but I know of it.
It's terrible, but you should watch it. It is
so I can feel like I'm actually a murderer.
It's called the number 23.
Number 23, that's the one. Yeah.
And it came out the year after I graduated high school, so it's pretty old. But
Aren't we the same age?
I don't know. I'm turning 30.
Oh, I'm older than you.
Oh, okay.
Not by much, but
well,
you know.
So it was the year after I graduated. The number 23 came out with Jim Carrey, and he's obsessed with the number 23, and he just sees all this numerology, and he finds this like crazy book, and it just like it makes you question numerology, but then also like kind of believe in it, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? Like, this shouldn't be happening logically. Yep. I know that it's not real. But also, your brain wants you to... Oh, God.
It wants you to have a connection to things. It wants you to say, there is no...
patterns.
Yes, 100%. And that's my brain 100%, which is why I'm really fucking good at my job. So.
But there you go. There you go. Oh, but thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing things with me.
Really thanks for having me.
No problem.
You're really cool.
Oh, thanks. Oh,
you're welcome.
That's really sweet of you to say. You didn't have to say that. I didn't pay her anything to be on here. I just want you to know.
She does not pay me to be her friend. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I mean, yes. No, wait. I've entered a legal loophole.
God. I made you sign that NDA for a reason.
Oh, damn it. That's right. First rule of NDAs. You cannot talk about NDAs.
You cannot talk about NDAs. But thank you so much for being on. And
thank you so much for having me.
Maybe one day I'll have you and Cricket and Wendy on, and you guys can talk about all your spooky things together, and you can share more of your ghosty goos. I'm trying to get them to go with me to like these 2 spooky places. They don't know about it yet. Surprise, surprise, if you're listening to this. But I'm trying to get them to go to a place called Lydia's Bridge, which is where this woman hung herself, and then another place called the Devil's Tramping Ground. They're both in North Carolina.
Very nice.
The Devil's Tramping Ground is actually a really weird spot in North Carolina where nothing will grow for 40 feet in a perfect circle. It's really weird. I know, it's spooky though. I don't understand why, but I'm gonna get down to the bottom of it, because I don't believe in ghosts.
Bring your green thumb and your succulents. See if you can give it some love.
Yeah, I'm gonna plant something there, and they'll be like, oh, why is there a succulent?
She cured it! She did it! And then you'll be praised.
Succulents will grow.
That's not a bad thing. I'm okay with that.
There you go. It's beautiful. It's fine. Oh. But thank you so much for being on here. This has been episode 7 of Not Another Paranormal Show with YebbaDebba. You can find her on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/YebbaDebba. And then also at YebbaDebba on Twitter, I believe. Am I correct?
You are correct.
Sure. And then, do you have an Instagram? I've been trying to get on my Instagram game. And
I do have an Instagram. It is also YebbaDebba, but there is an underscore at the end.
Fuck these underscores. I mean, I'm sorry.
Because some motherfucker has YebbaDebba and only has 3 followers, and one of them did it by accident.
You want me to yell at them now?
Please, I report them.
Whisper them angrily.
I report them on the daily of being
do?
Bitch, you're ruining my brand. Get off. Get off.
Leave. You don't even post every day. We're trying to do things here.
You're not real. Russian bot. Sorry.
But thank you so much for being on. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. I look forward to the next episode.
No problem. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. Goodbye.
Bye.